Some stories repeat themselves. We feel like we've learned the lesson, yet somehow we find ourselves in the same storm, over and over. Empaths fall for narcissists, not because they are naive or weak or foolish, but because their hearts are designed to see the unseen, to feel the unseen, to heal what others cannot. But the narcissist is not just any person. They are predators cloaked in charm, intensity, and a mirror of the empath's own soul. And when the empath meets this mirror, something ancient awakens and the cycle begins. Empaths are wired differently. Neuroscience shows they have heightened mirror neuron activity, making them extraordinarily sensitive to others' emotions. They can feel the subtle shifts in tone, the hidden pain behind a smile, the unspoken need beneath a casual word. This sensitivity is a gift, but it is also a vulnerability, because the empath does not see the narcissist as they are. They see the wounded child beneath the mask. They see the story the narcissist hides from the world. They see the pain behind the arrogance, the fear behind the grandiosity. And when they see it, they want to heal it. They are drawn to it like a moth to flame. The narcissist knows exactly how to capture an empath. They offer intensity, attention, validation, and a performance of vulnerability that feels magnetic. They mirror the empath's deepest desires. They echo the empath's pain, subtly making the empath feel understood like never before. This is called love bombing. But for empaths, it feels like recognition. It feels like being seen. It feels like home. And in that moment, the empath steps into the web willingly, unaware of the subtle chains being placed around their heart. When an empath is near a narcissist, their nervous system goes into overdrive. Dopamine surges with the highs of attention and affection. Oxytocin floods when intimacy is offered. Cortisol spikes during withdrawal or criticism. This creates a cycle of neurochemical addiction. The empath begins to crave the highs, dread the lows, and unconsciously organize their life around the narcissist's presence and absence. It is not just emotional, it is biological, and biology is not easily overridden by logic or willpower. Empaths often have a history of caretaking, of absorbing others' pain. Narcissists exploit this instinct. Through intermittent reinforcement, alternating affection with withdrawal, idealization with devaluation, the empath is gradually bound. Psychologists call this a trauma bond. Trauma bonds are insidious because they mimic love. The empath does not feel trapped. They feel responsible. They feel called to fix, to nurture, to save the one who, on some level, does not want saving. Why do empaths repeatedly fall for narcissists? It is not just biology. It is also shadow work left undone. Inside every empath is a shadow, unhealed wounds, unresolved grief, self-doubt, the part of themselves that was once unseen or rejected. The narcissist mirrors these shadows, amplifying them, reflecting them back with intensity. And the empath unconsciously seeks this reflection because it offers an opportunity for mastery. If I can heal them, I can heal my own wounds. But the paradox is cruel. The narcissist cannot be healed by anyone, and the empath's repeated attempts teach them painful lessons about boundaries, self-worth, and the limits of empathy. Attachment theory explains the recurring cycle. Many empaths carry anxious attachment tendencies. They fear abandonment. They crave connection. They are highly attuned to relational cues. Narcissists, by contrast, often have avoidant tendencies. They crave control, independence, and admiration without reciprocity. The combination is magnetic and volatile. The empath chases the narcissist's attention. The narcissist withdraws or withholds. And in this push-pull, the empath's attachment system is hijacked, deepening the bond despite repeated harm. One of the most insidious aspects is the illusion of transformation. The The narcissist occasionally shows warmth, vulnerability, or change. The empath sees glimpses of the person they long to heal, and these glimpses act like a drug. They convince the empath that perhaps, this time, it will be different. But narcissists rarely change in fundamental ways. The cycle of idealization and devaluation is a pattern reinforced over decades. The empath is caught in hope, while the narcissist is caught in strategy. The consequences of repeated narcissistic entanglement are profound. Empaths report anxiety, depression, dissociation, sleep disturbances, and even physical symptoms of chronic stress. They may question their own perception of reality, wondering if they are too sensitive, too dramatic, or too flawed. Their empathy, once a gift, becomes a tool for self-sabotage as they overextend emotionally to the narcissist and neglect their own needs. Breaking free begins with awareness. Empaths must learn to see the narcissist as they are, not as they imagine them. This requires examining patterns, recurring red flags, repeated cycles of idealization and devaluation, the sense of being drained, yet addicted to the connection. It also requires understanding one's own attachment triggers, shadow wounds, and the ways old trauma unconsciously pulls them back into the orbit of the narcissist. Healing is neither fast nor linear. It begins with boundaries, firm, unwavering, unapologetic. It begins with self-reflection. Who am I outside of their gaze? Who am I when I am not trying to save or fix? Therapy, somatic work, and inner child healing are crucial. The empath must reconnect to their own nervous system, learning that it is safe to feel, to need, and to be vulnerable without the presence of a predator. Over time, the empath can reclaim their gift, their intuition, and their light without it being used as a bridge for someone else's manipulation. Why does the empath fall again? Because repetition is teaching. Each cycle exposes unconscious wounds, attachment patterns, and unresolved grief. The empath is being asked to learn boundaries, self-worth, and discernment. They are being asked to see clearly, not just the narcissist, but themselves. And once the lesson is integrated, the cycle ends. Not because narcissists change, but because the empath finally changes. They stop unconsciously seeking the storm and begin to seek the calm within themselves. The relationship between empaths and narcissists is not about weakness. It is about sensitivity, depth, and the willingness to feel what others cannot. But sensitivity without boundaries is dangerous. Empathy without discernment is exploitable. And a heart that gives without protection will inevitably be drawn to the charm of a predator. The truth is, empaths are not flawed. They are gifted, but their gift must be tempered with wisdom. They must learn to love fiercely, yes, but also wisely. Because the moment an empath learns to see clearly, the narcissist's spell dissolves, and the empath steps into their true power, a heart open to love, but untouchable by manipulation. Thank you for sitting with me in this exploration. If you've ever been an empath drawn to a narcissist, know this: it is not a failure. It is a pattern of learning, and with awareness, boundaries, and self-love, the cycle can end. You can reclaim your heart, your power, and your peace.